We are so excited this morning, mostly Jax and I, because TJ hasn't seen the show yet, but that's okay. We're introducing him. Mm-hmm. The Handmaid's Tale. Oh. Jonathan Watton, who is joining the show this year, Commander Calhoun. And first off, round of applause. We're so excited because he's a Canadian. He's from Newfoundland.
Yes. Oh, good Newfie boy.
Second, though, let me set up your character before we even ask you a question. So you're like the new leader who is way more hardcore than the people we've known before.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Now, you have to explain to people like TJ who haven't seen the show yet, what exactly your position is, and you're kind of the guy that we're gonna hate.
For sure, as we should. Definitely as we should. Well, he's a new ambitious commander in this in the world of Gilead. And he's a bit of an upstart. So, he's ambitious. Mm-hmm. He feels that there's cracks, starting to appear in this power structure in Gilead, and he's out to, crack some heads and take some names. That's his sort of perspective. He's a hawk. Yeah. He's advocating kind of military responses, and very politically shrewd and ambitious. He sees, Commander Waterford and Putnam to a degree as sort of getting a little soft. He just thinks things need to tighten up here.
So he's a hard ass.
Definitely a hard ass.
How does it feel to play a villain?
Well, I mean, it was a little intimidating, for a couple of reasons. First, just, you're joining a stellar cast of amazing people.
Yeah. So a really successful show.
Yeah, of course. And I was a fan of the show. Yeah. I mean, before, for the first 2 seasons, I was a huge fan of the show. So that part, intimidation factor aside, I think the writers were helpful. They sort of kind of gave me a line into, what his motivation was, that he is politically ambitious, sort of out for himself, as well as he's an ideologue with some strong ideas. And that was just a helpful way to get in. And, the cast was pretty welcoming. They're a really great group of people. And it's a very supportive, super supportive vibe on set. Obviously, it's a very challenging show to make. And they do it very well at a high level. And I think they have a nice sort of vibe. At least I found, off camera when we're kind of in between scenes, and they really provide a great environment to work in.
It's funny because the show, and this is why we want you to watch it so badly, but I'm glad that you haven't, because it's nice to have someone explain it, TJ. Yeah. The show seems to be the worst impulses of, like, the manifestation of the worst impulses that seem to be occurring in today's climate. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like the weirdest thing is that what you guys are doing in the show, what your group of people are doing in the show, in oppressing women, in a military dictatorship, seem to be what there are certain very loud elements are pushing for today, and it's so, I don't know when they made the show if they could have predicted how relevant it would be.
It doesn't seem that far off reality wise, and I think that's the really scary part of it. I wanted to ask as well, because as a woman should, they need to escape Gilead. Now I'm going to explain to you, not good at cardio, overweight, BMI. Not fast, but how well do you think I would do in fleeing Gilead? Because that's what I would do. I mean, you have to cross the river. Like, it's a lot. So
it is a lot, and we've seen this in the show again, and we see it at the beginning of this season, that kind of need to escape, and we follow.
That's how season 3 kind of kicked off. Of course,
and it's a. They lock it down in Gilead. It's going to be tough. You've got to be fast runner, and.
So what you're saying is I'm not going to make it.
Well, okay. I was trying to offer.
Hang on. I know we've met, but
maybe find a bicycle.
I would say that now with the as we've discovered the network of Marthas, which has become quite efficient, and the beginning of the rebellion, the beginning of the resistance. You got a shot.
There you go.
You hear that, boys? I got a shot.
Sure, Jax.
We believe him, don't we?
I wanted to ask as well, because obviously you're in season 3. This is a well-established show. Like, how does one become like a main cast member of this? Like, how did you get the call? How did this all kind of happen?
Old-fashioned way. Yeah. I had an audition.
Okay, cool.
Showed up.
All right. Yeah.
Tried to just not screw it up.
Amazing.
It was great. Like I said, I'm a fan of the show, so it was an interesting sort of pivot to go from like, oh my God, I just love the show. I'm watching the show.
Of course.
Like, okay, I have an audition. I've got to focus here. I got to do some work, and then I got to show up on set and like play this character and not just look around and go, oh my God, I'm watching Handmaid's Tale here. And they look, no, idiot.
No, you're on it, dude.
You're in it. So just get to work. Will you?
Is that kind of, I don't want to say frustrating, but is it weird going from a fan of watching the show, now all of a sudden you're in it? I'm sure you know a few spoilers that happen. Is that a little bit weird?
It is a little, yeah. I mean, it's funny because, last night I was behind in a couple episodes. So I was like, before I came in this morning, I was like, well, I'm going to make sure I'm on top of this.
Right,
And I'd read the scripts, but I hadn't gotten a chance to see the latest episode. So I was up watching and I was wondering that very thing. I was like, and I think now, once the sort of excitement level for me personally is worn off, I'm still enjoying watching the show. I mean, there's so many great storylines and there's so many things. I just was like, sort of on the edge of the seat. And I was like, well, I've got to run to the thing and get a glass of water. No, I'm going to put it on pause.
Oh, great.
It was just like that. And it's and also moving, scenes that I'd read in a script but haven't seen, and then to see them on screen. And that's why I would encourage you to watch the show.
Incredible
it's funny.
show, dude.
It really is, just emotionally as well. I know we talk about the social relevance and culturally. It's just so well crafted and so well written, so well performed, and just some of the emotional notes that I was sort of getting affected by.
And what's amazing too is that it's a lot of it's shot here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you live here.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
you could just do you just walk to work?
Have I walked to work? No, we haven't worked close enough to home to walk to work, but it's pretty close to that.
Because we've seen them at City Hall.
Down at City Hall.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, you're right.
Incredible.
That's right.
Incredible.
And we have shot all over Southern Ontario, and the studio's not far. It's downtown. And what's one of the cool things is that, that's one of the things that as I first watched the show in season 1, just to see how well it was made and how well it's executed, and go like, we make this here.
Do
this here. All local locations.
So my wife's a stylist and does commercials and stuff in the year. I don't think people realize how much shooting is done here.
Yeah.
How I didn't realize. I had no idea. And we got a pretty proud tradition here. And you've been in a lot of shows like Murdoch Mysteries and mean it's crazy.
Yeah, and I think the level of work that we continue to do here is growing, and it's exciting to see. And this is just another show. You go this is this multi-award-winning show. We make it here, and both our domestic shows and shows that come in and work here. I think we're just kind of going up and up and up.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And brand new episode just dropped last night on the all-new Crave. You can watch that.
Yeah,
so I know
it's so
exactly
funny.
what I'm doing after work. Yeah.
Okay, me too, because I was waiting.
Yeah.
That's how I'm watching it, is on Crave. And then I was like, I got to the end of 4, and then I was like, well, when's 5? And I'm like, oh, it's not, because you can watch it on Bravo.
You can watch exactly, and then it drops. Yeah.
It was like 12:30, and then I was like, wow, I gotta go to sleep.
Well, I guess I know what you're doing today.
Exactly. Yeah.
How do you know he's a great actor? Huh? He's from Newfoundland, and he's playing a villain.
There we go.
Yeah, so he's really got to work for it.
That's a hard one. That's a hard one.
Time to say.
Thank you so much for coming in, Jonathan Watton. You're going to get to know him for season 3 of Handmaid's Tale on the all-new Crave. Jonathan, thanks so much for coming in. You are way too nice to be a bad guy.
Under his eye, praise be.
Praise be.
Yeah.